It's the Combatcast, and we are live with the man they call Dave, Chevarooney. And before we get started, it's time for that video. Are you a fan of pro wrestling, comedy, and combat sports? Then we have the podcast for you, because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to.
Everybody, we're going to talk about some fights coming up this weekend, but first, hit them with that schedule.
All right, September 10th, we have UFC 279, Kamiyah versus Diaz. Then September 17th, UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Zudane. And then at the end of September, there are no UFC fights, so we will be covering Bellator 285. That's Henderson versus Quealy. I think that's how his last name is pronounced. You know, we know Henderson, obviously.
Maybe we'll have some kind of surprise too.
Yeah.
We'll see, what we got cooking up. Before that, one championship. You wanted to talk about it before we got on. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson getting his title back.
Yeah, he got his belt back via KO, brutal knee walk-off KO, which is similar to the way that he got finished to lose his belt. So it was a super great matchup between these two. That was Marias's first knockout loss. And the previous fight was DJ's first knockout loss. So I assume we're going to see some sort of rubber match between these guys. And I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, you know what's funny? DJ's so good. I remember when he was fighting Dodson early in his career. And Dodson had knocked him down a couple times and really gave him a good fight. And he came out strong. Everybody was talking about, oh, Dodson's going to be the one, you know. And DJ just puts a hurting on Dodson, and Benavidez too. They're like, oh, DJ's he's a decision guy. Though. He's a decision guy. Fucking lays out Benavidez a couple
rematches.
Is that Mighty Mouse is so good at what he does, and he's so calculated. He wins a lot of decisions because he goes out there just to dominate a fight. But if the opening arises, like he can take you out, and he was one of the first fighters I really saw that in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You were mentioning those previous fights, those finishes he got, they were in the rematches. So,
yeah.
When he goes back with his coach, Matt Hume, who is a MMA genius, the Phil Jackson to, DJ's Michael Jordan kind of thing. So, when they go back and look at the tape, formulate the game plan, DJ goes out and executes it perfectly, and that's why you see him getting those finishes in those rematches for sure.
Yeah, no, he's one of the best in the world, and he's got equally one of the best camps. And he's also involved in one of those camps where they're probably hyper focused on him too.
For sure.
Now, another news before we talk about this weekend's fights. It has been discussed that looks like we will be getting that Anderson Silva Jake Paul fight. If there is an MMA fighter that's going to beat Jake Paul in boxing, we've talked about Silva's probably the guy. And I find it interesting that to discuss a weight is going to be 185. I feel like that favors I think that actually favors Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at that. And I want to say, Jake, because I figured that's what they usually do. We're going to stack this, against him. But it doesn't appear that's what they're doing. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk more about this when it gets closer. But for me, if he beats Anderson, Jake will have my respect for sure. I know that, he's not going to get it from everyone because they're going to say, oh, you beat a 50-year-old man or whatever like that. But Anderson is Anderson. So and he's 3-0 in professional boxing. He's embarrassing guys in there. I mean, he just beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was a world champion in boxing. Granted, I'm sure that he didn't take it super seriously, but Anderson looked phenomenal. And I think Jake Paul's got a real fight on his hands, and I would put a lot of money on Anderson for this fight for sure.
And anybody that's not a guy that's a boxer that's fighting Anderson, like he's laying them out. It's not like what we're seeing with Jake. Like he's laying people out within the first minute. So it's an interesting fight. I can see why they took it because he's a big name and he is older, so they probably do think they can do this. But
it's a good step up in his career too.
Yeah, it is. It's probably the most dangerous fight he's had.
Absolutely.
Now, is there any fights before we get to this week's fight night? Did you want to profile that's not on the main card here?
Just the Nazardine Amaya versus Joaquin Buckley fight that's on the prelims. Buckley's a super exciting fighter. This is his first opportunity to break into the top 15. I think Amaya is like number 11 or 12 or something like that. So Amaya beat Shabazian and Ian Heinisch. So they're super tough guys. I'm gonna go with Amaya versus decision though, via decision. Close fight, but I have to go with Nazardine.
All right. Speaking of close fights, first fight on this main card, which was, by the way, is Gane versus Tai Tuivasa. This will be the Gane Tai Tuivasa fight card. But the first fight on this main card, Charles Jourdain versus Nathaniel Wood. Zudane is 13-5-1. He's got 8 KOs, 4 subs. He's coming off a tough loss to Shane Burgos, who is one of the best fighters at featherweight. Maybe not like the top 5, but the top 5 is amazing. But now Burgos is going on to another, I think PFL, right?
PFL, yep.
Yeah. But this fight was super close. Like, there was arguable Zudane could have won this. And
absolutely.
He went on stronger as the fight went on. And Nathaniel Wood, 18-5, 9 KOs, 5 subs. Nathaniel Wood is not going to be easy competition at all. I'm just looking at some of this championship accomplishments. Performance of the night, fight of the night, Cage Warriors bantamweight champion. I don't know. I'm going to go with Zudane just because I was so impressed in that loss against Shane Burgos. But I bet you it's a decision.
Yeah, so this is a featherweight fight. That's what Charles Jourdain has fought at for, I believe, his entire UFC career, at least. So Nathaniel Wood has fought at bantamweight, like you said. I think that is going to factor into this fight. Jourdain is good everywhere, and I think being the bigger guy is only going to help him. His cardio is still great. That's what you have to worry about with those smaller guys. And I really think that Charles is so much better than his record shows, and he's looking better and better in each fight. Like you said, that Burgos fight was really close, like absolutely razor thin, could have went either way. So I too am going to go with him, but I think he gets a 3rd round TKO.
Yeah, I can see it coming on late. And I just want to point out, though, Nathaniel Wood, he made his featherweight debut his last fight with a decision victory over Charles Rosa. So, hopefully for him, he is probably getting a little used to this. Going up in weight and fighting, but yeah, Jourdain is a tough customer. We're gonna really see what Nathaniel Wood is like at this weight class
for sure. This is a great measuring stick for him.
Another fight, featherweight fight. I'm not really as familiar with these guys. Looks like it's William Gomez, 10-2, 6 KOs, 1 sub, and Geronimo Aruns, 13-3-1, 3 KOs, 5 subs. Maybe you can say their name's better, and maybe you can give me a prediction.
All right, so I didn't know anything about either one of these guys before doing the research for this fight. So what I've seen, Gomez seems to be a KO artist, and he's French. So listen to my conspiracy theory here.
Okay.
So the UFC is trying to build their brand in Europe, right? This is their first event in France, so obviously they would like the French audience to be excited. Ciryl Gane is not exciting at all. He's the other French fighter on the card, on the main card. he's not exciting at all. So I think they're setting up Arends to get KO'd here to make the fans happy. I'm going to say, and also, they'd like to build another French star, another European star. So I think that I'm going to go with Gomes by KO in round 1.
All right, I'm going to agree. I like the conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
All right, we got looks like, hold on a second here. All right, lightweight fight. John Makdessi versus Nasrat Haqparast. Haqparast is 13-5, 9 KOs, 4 decisions, and Makdessi is 18-7, 9 KOs, 9 decisions. Makdessi's been around for a while. Really good journeyman fighter. I feel like Nasrat is a little more well-rounded, though, of the two. I like Nasrat. I also see this one going decision, though.
Yeah. So both these guys have been going to decision lately. Not looking the best, but I think that this matchup, the UFC matched them up because of their styles. Both of them are the type that if they get hit, they're gonna, try to get one back. Mm-hmm. And that, lends this fight to become a brawl. So I would assume someone gets KO'd. I'm a fan of Nasrat, but I think in a firefight, I'd go with Makdessi. So I'm going to go with Makdessi in a round 2 KO. I hope that doesn't happen because I like Nasrat.
All right. Then we have Alessio Di Chirico taking on Roman Kopylov. Let's see if we got that right. But Alessio is 13-6, 6 KOs, 4 subs. Roman is 8-2, 7 KOs and 1 decision. Roman's got a lot of knockouts under that record. I'm a little more with Alessio. I feel like he's had a little bit better competition. But maybe we're trying to get some new people over here. I'll go upset. Roman, round 1, KO.
Yeah, neither guy has looked good lately. Roman's 2 losses in his career are his first and second UFC fight. So Alessio has been he's one to get in a firefight too, and I don't think that this is the guy that you want to get in a firefight with, though. So I think that Roman's probably worked out his UFC jitters now. He might be a little bit nervous that if he loses that third one, he's getting the boot. But I think that Alessio's going to be there to hit, and I think Roman's going to work the body early, and he's going to knock out Alessio in round 3.
There you go, Randy. Oscar asked if we see any big knockouts this weekend. We see a couple already we talked about, but stay tuned. We're going to talk about the main event pretty soon. But first, a co-main event when I was doing the research for this card that had fallen under my radar that I'm super excited about. Marvin Vettori versus Robert Whitaker, Bobby Knuckles. All right, let's look at the stats here. Vettori is 18-5-1, 2 KOs, 9 subs, 7 decisions. Performance of the night twice. He's coming off a victory over Paulo Acosta. Fighting the night before with Jack Hermanson. Robert Whitaker, man, what can you say? 23-6, 9 KOs, 5 subs, 9 decisions. Former middleweight champion, former interim middleweight champion, Ultimate Fighter on Australia. He's fighting tonight 5 times. The guy is a warrior. He's absolutely one of the best in the world. Marvin Vettori has been basically beating everybody right now that's not Israel Adesanya. To me, this is really the 2 best middleweights in the world, not style bender at this point. Going to be a super close fight. Should be a really good fight. It is really, I think Marvin Vettori has a real shot at beating Robert Whitaker. But, man, until you're style bender and you show me otherwise, I don't know who's really beating Whitaker. So, because the other guy, Jared Cannonier, who's been beating everybody else up too, he wasn't able to beat Whitaker either. So I feel like Whitaker is number 2 in this weight class. Although Vittori, I think, is also I mean, Cannier's right there too. So number 3, number 4. But I like Whittaker in this one. I'll go decision because it's only 3 rounds.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think this is going to be fight of the night. Both guys are just the toughest of the tough for sure. If you're not sure, look at Whittaker versus Yoel in those 2 fights they had. And then Vittori versus Costa, like they're just the toughest guys. So I don't see either guy getting put to sleep. But I bet both guys have long layoffs after this fight, medical layoffs after this fight. So I just think that Whittaker's a bit more technical with his karate style and his in and out, and his wrestling is definitely better. Although Vittori has looked much better, vastly improves in between each fight. I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going to go with Whittaker by a super close decision. I don't think either guy's going to lose very much stock in this fight.
No, I agree. Randy, do we need to get some AJ Strangebrew on this podcast? We'll see, Andy. When conflicts become an issue there, but you never know. We've talked about it in the past, So main event time. Ciryl Gane, 10-1, 4 KOs, 3 subs, 3 decisions, well-rounded. This guy was an interim UFC heavyweight champion, performance of the night twice. He's been beating all the top heavyweights, not Francis Ngannou. And then he got Tai Tuivasa, 14-3, 13 KOs, only 1 decision. Performance of the night 4 times. It's just, when you look at Tai's run, he's just been on a great run. But he's kind of reminded me of like a newer version of Derek Lewis, though, in a sense that, like, I'm not seeing something there. I'm not saying he is improved skill-wise, and he's good, but I'm not seeing something that makes me believe he's one of the top 2-3 heavyweights in the world. But with that improvement, his knockout power, he's dangerous. He seems to have momentum, which is big. But, man, I want this guy to win because he's such a likable guy. He's so fun. But, like, Ciryl Gane, to me, has shown to be the more technical fighter. He knows how to hit. This is the debut in France. Like, to me, this is just to get this guy back on track. Fuck it. I'll go Tai Tuivasa. Round 4 KO.
Oh, my God. We're really
want.
on the same page here. So Gane is going to try to make this the most boring fight in history. Mm-hmm. We'll be glad that this main card started at 3 p.m. Eastern when this fight happens, for sure. So Gane is going to throw 1 leg kick or 1 jab and then circle away from Tai the entire fight. That will be all he does. That will be literally the only thing he does. Throw 1 kick, 1 jab, and circle away. So Tai's going to have to chase him the entire fight. So I'm really hoping that he can cut off the cage, at some point in the 25 minutes that he has and land just 1 shot to stun Gane. And then, his killer instinct takes over. Once he stuns Gane, he's going to jump all over him, blow his gas tank, and hopefully get the finish. That's what he wants to do. It's very likely that Gane just keeps circling and tapping him the entire fight, and we get the most boring fight in history. But I'm going to say that Tai lands that 1 punch and then follows up with a barrage. And I'm incredibly biased, but I'm going to say round 4 TKO for Tai Tuivasa. We get to see shoeies in France. Let's go.
Yeah, I think we just agreed, even though it's actually more possible that he needs to get the knockout early. I figure it's going to be that late round, maybe, where just if you're not expecting it, that's going to be the giant upset.
Gane gets complacent, and Tai holds power into the later rounds, even though he doesn't have the best cardio. He holds power still, so I think it's not outside the realm of possibility. But is it the most likely outcome? Probably not.
I think if you're the UFC too, like, you can't be mad if Tai Tuivasa pulls this off because he's such a likable guy. You can just see the momentum.
Oh yeah,
in it. Yeah, like
he's super marketable, and nobody dislikes Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah, coming out to is like
Barbie girl.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what his walkout is in France.
It's gonna be good.
He's the best. I love that guy.
So, all right, let's hit people with our schedule one more time.
All right, September 10th, UFC 279, Kamiyah versus Diaz. And Tony Ferguson is fighting the Leech on that card as well. That's basically the entire card. And then September 17th, UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Yadong. Very good bantamweight matchup. And then September 24th, we're going to be previewing Bellator 285, Henderson versus Quealy. And we'll maybe come up with something else for you guys.
Yeah. We'll see.
So this Fight Night, just to remind everyone, Gane versus Tuivasa. Main card starts at 3 p.m. Eastern. So thank you, Dana.
Appreciate that. All right, guys. That's it for the Combatcast. We'll see you at the fight.